Welcome back to Bookkast, where you get bestsellers in minutes. Today, we're going to be cracking open Quicksilver. It's by Callie Hart, and it is the first book in her Fae Alchemy series.
This one is a really captivating blend of magic, romance, and adventure. And you are just thrust into this world that feels both familiar and completely unique. You meet Saeris, and she lives in this brutal desert city, Zilvaren. It's a place where water is literally more valuable than gold.
You know, when I was reading it, I was immediately struck by how vivid a picture Hart paints of Zilvaren. It's not just a setting, right? It's practically a character itself.
Absolutely. The harsh sun, the way society is divided, and the constant struggle for survival all shape who Saeris is, especially because she and her younger brother, Hayden, are just scraping by in the Third Ward. Saeris uses her skills as a thief to protect him and provide for him. You really feel that fierce loyalty and protectiveness radiating from her.
Yeah, and it makes her initial theft of this enchanted armor even more daring. You can almost feel the weight of desperation behind her actions.
And it's that theft that sets the whole story in motion. Suddenly, she's facing the undying Queen's Guard. Now, this isn't just any queen. She's been ruling for centuries, and the word on the street is that she achieved immortality through some pretty dark magic. And you see Saeris's street smarts and fighting skills on full display as she tries to evade capture. It's a heart-pounding introduction that really highlights the lengths she'll go to for her family.
I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
And just when you think things can't get any more intense, boom, we're whisked away to the Fae realm of Yvalia. Talk about a contrast, right?
It's a breathtaking shift. We go from this desolate, sun-scorched desert to lush forests, sparkling rivers, and snow-capped mountains. You almost feel a sense of relief along with Saeris, like she's finally taken a breath of fresh air. But of course, this being a fantasy novel, there's a whole new set of dangers lurking in this magical world.
And right at the center of it all is Kingfisher, or Fisher, as he's known, a powerful and enigmatic Fae warrior who brings Saeris to Yvalia. Their initial interactions are full of tension. I mean, he basically kidnaps her. But there's this undeniable spark between them.
Yeah, their connection is so intriguing because it's not just about physical attraction. It's tied to Saeris's unique ability to manipulate Quicksilver, a powerful magical substance. No one else can awaken its power, which makes her incredibly valuable to the Fae, and especially to Fisher.
I love how Hart weaves the magic system into the plot. It's not just window dressing. It's integral to Saeris's journey and her growing relationship with Fisher. I mean, talk about a meet cute, right?
What I find fascinating here is how this connection to Quicksilver hints at a deeper meaning. It's almost like Saeris bridges the gap between the human and Fae worlds, literally manipulating the essence of magic.
That's a great point. It adds a whole new layer to her character. So we've got this harsh desert city, a daring escape, a kidnapping by a Fae warrior. It sounds like Saeris is in for a wild ride. But we're just getting started. Tell me more about this Fae realm and what Saeris finds herself caught up in.
Well, Yvalia is a land steeped in magic, but it's far from a utopia. There's political intrigue simmering beneath the surface. The reader learns about a conflict with the vampire king, Malcolm, and an ancient deal that binds him to King Bellicon. It's a delicate balance of power, and Saeris's arrival seems to be upsetting that balance.
I'm always a sucker for a good dose of political intrigue in my fantasy novels.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about this ancient deal and how it ties into Saeris and Fisher?
Well, this deal is shrouded in mystery, but it's clear it has far-reaching consequences. We know it involves a city called Gilithri and a coin toss with impossibly high stakes. And here's where it gets really interesting. Saeris's ability to manipulate Quicksilver may be the key to breaking this ancient pact and reshaping the balance of power.
Wow, so she's not just a pawn in their game. She could actually hold the power to change everything. That's a lot of responsibility for someone who is just trying to survive in a desert city a few days ago. What do you think this means for Saeris's character arc?
It sets up this fantastic internal conflict for her. On the one hand, she's this street-smart thief trying to get back to her brother and her life in Zilvaren. But on the other, she's thrust into this world of magic and destiny with the potential to save an entire realm. Talk about a dilemma.
It already has me hooked. And we haven't even talked about the romance yet. Clearly, there's something brewing between Saeris and Fisher.
Yeah.
But with all this danger and intrigue swirling around them, I can't imagine it's going to be smooth sailing.
Oh, absolutely not. Their relationship is further complicated by Saeris's transformation. Remember, she's not just developing Fae traits, she's also showing signs of becoming a vampire, which is a bit unsettling, to say the least. I mean, what does this mean for her identity, for her connection to Fisher, who represents the Fae world?
It's like she's being pulled in two different directions. On one side is the familiar world of humans, however harsh it may be. And on the other, there's this alluring but dangerous world of magic and fae. It makes me wonder, can she ever truly belong in either world? Or is she destined to be caught between them?
It's a question that lingers throughout the book, and it's just one of the many reasons why Quicksilver is such a compelling read. But for now, we're going to leave you on that cliffhanger. Stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive into Quicksilver, where we'll explore the political landscape of Yvalia and delve deeper into Saeris' transformation.
We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere because there's so much more to uncover in this magical world. And remember, you got all this in just a few minutes thanks to Bookkast. Welcome back to Bookkast. We're in the midst of our deep dive into Callie Hart's Quicksilver. And I'm already hooked on this blend of magic, mystery, and forbidden romance. Before the break, we were talking about the ancient deal that hangs over the Fae realm of Yvalia. It sounds like a pretty big deal, literally.
Oh, it is. This deal, struck centuries ago, binds the Fae King Belicon to the vampire King Malcolm. And it all went down in this ancient city called Gilithry. Now, picture this. The fate of an entire city hinging on a simple coin toss.
A coin toss? That's intense.
Right. Leaf side up, Malcolm spares the city. Fish side up, he unleashes his vampire horde and destroys everything. You can probably guess which side the coin landed on.
That's rough. So how does this ancient deal connect to Saeris and her ability to manipulate Quicksilver?
This is where it gets really intriguing. The original coin used in the toss, it was made of silver, and when Malcolm touched it, the silver burned him. It seems silver has always held power over vampires.
Okay, so that explains why Saeris' Quicksilver abilities are so important. She could be the key to breaking this ancient pact, right?
Exactly. And with that comes a whole new set of challenges. Remember, Saeris is also developing vampire traits herself. Talk about irony. She might hold the power to break the very curse that could bind her.
It's like she's caught in this cosmic tug of war. On one side, her human past and her loyalty to her brother. And on the other, this destiny tied to the Fae and vampires. And potentially, the fate of the universe.
Yeah. Her internal conflict is so compelling because it mirrors the larger struggle between order and chaos that, it permeates the entire book. It raises these questions about free will versus destiny. Is Saeris truly in control of her own fate? Or is she simply a pawn in a game played by powerful beings?
Which leads us to the labyrinth beneath Gilithry. This place sounds terrifying. Shifting walls, ancient traps, and a whole lot of darkness. What exactly is down there, and why is it so important?
Well, the labyrinth isn't just a physical location. It's a metaphor for Saeris' journey of self-discovery. As she navigates its twists and turns, she's also navigating the complexities of her identity and her burgeoning powers.
I love that Hart uses the setting to mirror Saeris' internal struggles. It adds a layer of depth and symbolism to the story.
And let's not forget the role of Fisher in all of this. Their connection intensifies as they face these dangers together. But it's complicated, right? He's a Fae warrior sworn to protect his king. And she's a human thief caught in a web of magic and destiny.
The forbidden romance trope is always a favorite of mine, especially when it's done well. What makes Saeris and Fish's relationship so compelling?
Well, for one, it's a slow burn. Their attraction kind of simmers beneath the surface. It's fueled by their shared experiences and unspoken desires. There's this push and pull between them, this constant tension that keeps you guessing what will happen next.
And their differences only add to the drama. She's from this harsh, practical world, while he's from a realm of magic and ancient traditions. It makes their connection feel both dangerous and inevitable.
What struck me was how Hart subverts the typical damsel in distress trope. Yes, Saeris is thrust into this unfamiliar world, but she's no passive participant. She's strong, resourceful, and willing to fight for what she believes in. She challenges Fisher's assumptions, pushing him to see the world from a different perspective.
That's so refreshing. It makes their relationship feel more balanced, like they're both equals, even though they come from such different worlds. But with all this talk about ancient deals and labyrinthine metaphors, I can't help but wonder, what's the end game here? What's at stake for Saeris, Fisher, and the fate of the universe?
Well, that's a question for our next segment, but let me just say, Quicksilver takes some unexpected turns. The fate of the universe might hinge on a stolen kiss, a whispered promise, and a love that defies the boundaries of realms and destinies. Stay tuned for the thrilling conclusion of our Quicksilver deep dive after a quick word from our sponsors.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a minute to reveal the secrets that lie at the heart of this captivating tale. And remember, you're getting a whole bestseller in minutes, thanks to Bookkast. And we are back with the final part of our deep dive into Callie Hart's Quicksilver. And the tension is thicker than Quicksilver itself. We left off with Saeris and Fisher facing some seriously dangerous odds in that creepy labyrinth. What happens when they finally confront Malcolm, the Vampire King?
Well, the confrontation with Malcolm is a total game changer. It turns out he's not just some power-hungry villain. He reveals this shocking truth. He's been bound by the ancient deal, just like Fisher. That coin toss that sealed Gilithri's fate centuries ago, it cursed him too.
So he's trapped in the labyrinth and driven by this curse. That adds a whole new layer of complexity to the story.
It does, and it makes his obsession with Fisher even more tragic. He's fixated on breaking the curse through Fisher, even if it means destroying Avelia in the process. It's like this twisted form of love born out of desperation and centuries of suffering.
Okay, so Malcolm is more than just a one-dimensional bad guy. How does Saeris handle this revelation? Especially knowing she's becoming more like him every day.
This is where Saeris' courage really shines. She's not just fighting for survival anymore, she's fighting for the future of Euvalia, for Fisher, and for her own humanity. And she makes a startling discovery about the labyrinth itself. It's not just a maze, it's a sentient being, feeding off the souls trapped within its walls.
A sentient labyrinth. That's both fascinating and terrifying. What does Saeris do with that information?
Well, she realizes that Malcolm's fake silver coins, the ones he used to try and manipulate the deal, are actually the key to weakening him and breaking his hold on the labyrinth. But to do that, she has to confront him directly, and that leads to a showdown that had me holding my breath until the very last page.
Oh, you're killing me with the suspense. Does she succeed?
Let's just say it's a Pyrrhic victory. Saeris uses her Quicksilver ability to disrupt the labyrinth and weaken Malcolm, but both she and Fisher are gravely injured in the process. Their survival hangs by a thread.
Oh no, I knew things were going to get rough, but I wasn't prepared for that, so what happens to them?
Well, here's where Hart throws another twist into the mix. Remember those Fae and vampire traits Saeris has been developing? They become crucial to her survival. A mysterious entity named Taladeus, who turns out to be a powerful vampire, senses her transformation and heals her. But the healing comes at a price, binding her to him in a way that changes her forever.
Wow, so even in the moment of victory, there's this looming sense of consequence. What about Fisher? Does he survive?
He's also healed, but his connection to the Quicksilver and the labyrinth leaves him vulnerable. It's revealed that he's been carrying a heavy burden for centuries, a burden linked to his family's past, and the very fate of the universe.
Wait, the fate of the universe? This is getting cosmic. What's going on?
We learn from none other than Xerath, the god of chaos and change, that Fisher is descended from a long line of powerful beings responsible for maintaining balance between realms. His connection to Saeris is no accident. It was prophesied, and their meeting has triggered a chain of events that could either save or destroy everything.
So it's not just a love story, it's a cosmic destiny. How do they handle that kind of pressure?
They don't really have a choice. The fate of the universe is at stake, and they're the only ones with the power to stop the coming darkness. But first, they have to deal with the fallout of the labyrinth, their transformations, and the tangled web of relationships forged in the fire of their shared experiences.
It's not a simple happily ever after, is it?
Not yet. But there's hope. You see Saeris and Fisher embracing their powers and working together to protect those they care about. And amidst the chaos, their love for each other burns brighter than ever.
So Quicksilver ends on a note of anticipation, a promise of more adventures to come.
Exactly. It's just the beginning of their journey. You're left wanting to know how they'll face the challenges ahead, and whether their love can truly conquer all.
Well, I am definitely adding the rest of the Fae Alchemy series to my reading list. And remember, you got all this and a whole lot more in just a few minutes thanks to Bookkast.
If you're looking for a story that blends mythology, fantasy, and romance in a truly captivating way, Quicksilver is a must-read.
Thanks for joining us on this epic deep dive. We'll be back next time with another bestseller in minutes. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those pages turning.